only thing I care about is that when someone makes false and defamatory statements and it gets 100,000 plus views and then it gets 500,000 plus views and it demeans the character of myself or the 230 plus families that I care that are putting their hearts and souls into this game, of which I put over $55 million of my own money into the development of this game.
Yeah.
There has never been a dime or profit that's been taken from this company in 8 years. When someone says that, it is utter, and pardon my
Well, it's
French
gonna
here,
piss
but it
you
is
off. It's bullshit. Yeah, sure.
it's
I get it.
complete fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy Naj. Today we're going to be taking a look at Narc and his video on Ashes of Creation. If you're not familiar with Narc, he was a significant Ashes of Creation content creator. He was a big advocate for the game. He was super excited about it. But recently, he dropped a pretty big bombshell YouTube video. It's now at 154,000 views. It's called "This Will Be My Last Ashes of Creation" video. Now, this caught a lot of people by surprise. You know, just him being one of the biggest voices in the space. Everyone was like, what's going on here? But yeah, he announces that he's leaving. And we'll skip through a little bit of this video so you can kind of see his key points. Boiled down to him feeling like for the money that you pay to get into alpha, he wasn't getting the value that he thought he should have been, given the advertised the things that were advertised to be in the alpha state. And it got to the point where he felt like he was lying to his audience and he didn't want to do that anymore. And I think that, you know, while he said that that was a big piece of it, I think one of the larger pieces, in my opinion, that you'll kind of see throughout this video is it just seems like he really just wants to step away and not make that the key point and highlight piece of his channel, which is totally understandable. I mean, you know, get into other stuff, grow. I really think that, in my opinion, it seems more of this is an out for him, if I had to guess. You know, like this is kind of using this to step away from the game, which, you know, again, totally understandable, but that's just kind of my view on it. Now, so that was kind of the beginning to all of this. So this video released, again, we'll step through this in just a second. It blew up, 154K views. This is one of his biggest videos, at least that I've seen in a long time. Well, it prompted Asmongold to react to it, and as you know, that went ahead and garnered probably 1 million plus views by now. But he just reacted to the video, gave his take, you know, was saying like, yo, yeah, I totally get it, like yada yada yada. Well, that prompted Steven, who is the, you know, the I guess you call it the CEO, the founder. He's pumped $50 million plus of his own money into this game. He's the voice of Ashes of Creation, etc. That prompted him to drop a response video. In that video, he tears Narc a fucking new one. It was quite a video, quite a watch. We'll step through a bit of that too. But end of the day, Asmon sees this as well, and it's actually called Asmon Response, funny enough. And Steven's rightfully pissed. I mean, he's got some points. He's basically saying like, this video has 154,000 views. It's insanely popular, and it's slanderous. You know, you say that this and this and this is not in the game, and he goes through and shows step by step that they fucking are in the game. Like each of the key things that Narc says, this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, yada, yada, yada. All of that's fucking there, at least according to what we see on his stream. And, you know, he just really clears up a lot of those points and makes a valid argument that at the end of the day, he's pumped a lot of his own money into this. He takes really good care of his developers, pours his heart and soul into this game, has a super open dialogue with the community, which most people seem to appreciate, but always seems to bite him in the ass. And at the end of the day, Narc's going to go and call this guy, you know, say without saying, scammer. You know, it's like, and Narc makes the point to say, I'm not saying that they're scamming us. I'm not saying that this is a scam. But when you kind of allude to the fact that this alpha test cost an exorbitant amount of money, you don't feel like you're getting what it's worth. You're saying that, oh, the development, you know, they keep claiming that it's going to be 2 years out or 1 year out or however long, but you don't think it's coming out anytime soon. And you don't think that this is a key point. He mentions that he doesn't think server meshing and those different technologies that they keep advertising, he doesn't think they even exist. When you make those big, bold claims and say that these things aren't happening, you're not actually getting to them, yada, 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 you are kind of saying without saying that he's scamming you. You paid for something, you're not getting that thing, you're getting scammed, And so I see why Steven's pissed off. But anyhow, so I was watching Asmon's stream, and he actually gets both of these guys on the call, and not at the same time. That would have been entertaining. But he gets both of these guys on a call at different times. He actually first brings on Narc, talks about the video with him, has a healthy conversation, and then he jumps on over to Steven, who's again super pissed off, has that conversation, and then he actually gets to talk to Pirate Software, Thor, if you're familiar with him. An awesome guy, and Thor's been loving the game, but it was cool to see an actual player's perspective. But let's go ahead and step through some of this video, each of these videos, just to see the key points and have a discussion about that.
Hey, what up, boys? So I make this video with quite a heavy heart, and it's not one that I thought I'd ever make. It seems my time covering Ashes of Creation has come to an end, and from this point onwards, I will be distancing myself from the alpha, its community, and the developers. I'm sure there are many, many questions as to why I'm doing this, so today I'm going to explain why and set expectations for this channel's future. Now, this all started about a year ago, when Intrepid Studios announced that they would be stopping their 250 pack sales temporarily in order to generate a huge amount of FOMO, or fear of missing out, as they continued to show live streams of the game's so-called development. I knew back then that miscommunication or straight-up lies were being utilized in order to hide the truth. I've seen it before. What's he gonna do next? What's he gonna do? Is he gonna stop selling Alpha 2 keys and then reintroduce Alpha 2 keys again 2 months before the Alpha 2? Is that what he's gonna do next? Holy shit, just like he did with Alpha 1. Do you guys remember that? Lo and behold, just as I knew it would, the pack sales came.
So just want to pause here. And this is, something that's definitely been a point of disagreement on the internet, as far as, the alpha keys costing the amount of money that they do. I think to get in right now is like $110, $120 or something like that. And now there has been several instances where they've done key giveaways in huge waves, and a lot of people have been able to get in that way. But for the most part, if you wanted to get in, you did have to pay it. You do currently have to pay $100 and something. And I know that the first round of Alpha 1 testing was actually $500, and that was a huge deal. Now, depends on how you look at this. I don't think it's as clear cut as just saying, to play alpha, you have to spend, or back then to play alpha, you had to spend $500. To play alpha now, you have to spend $120, right? They were pretty clear, at least in my opinion, for Alpha 1, that, with your $500, please do not give us this money if you do not believe in this game, A. If you do not want to see the process of development, and if you're expecting a full game here, if you are gonna bitch and complain about bugs and this and that, like, please do not pay attention to this. Don't give us money. Don't sign up for this. Like, this is a Kickstarter at that point. Like, $500, we're happy to let you in so we can test things out, so on and so forth. That was the first wave. This wave is actually, you pay, it's you can see on the screen, $120, $110, $100. With these, you're not only getting access to Alpha 2, I think it's Alpha 2, whatever wave you decide to, whatever tier you decide here, you can see on the screen. But you're also getting access to Beta Phase 1, Beta Phase 2, and you're getting a free month of gameplay. And this is a point that Thor makes, or Pirate Software makes, whenever he's talking to Asmon.
Think about, like, because obviously I think it's been really contentious. A lot of people, at least especially in like YouTube comments, have been really critical about the price tag of the game. And I think that's where I think a lot of the criticism and the frustration comes from, is that people paid money to play the game, and the game isn't what they wanted it to be, which is disappointing. I mean, it's understandable, right? I mean, you know, viewers, consumers are going to have the opinions they're going to have.
Totally.
But at the same time, like it's definitely a double-edged sword with charging that much money for a beta, because people are going to have that opinion.
Yeah, I think generally, like, especially as players, we're used
Yeah.
to an alpha or a beta that's like a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days. You'll get this all the time from AAA where they're like, hey, you get early access for 3 days for $100 kind of a shit,
A
right?
marketing tool.
And most of the people, most of the people that come into my chat have that kind of an opinion. They're like, oh, this is going to be like a couple of days, right? And I was like, no. Like, if you look at the roadmap, that key isn't just alpha. It's alpha 2, which we're on right now, all of beta 1, all of beta 2, a month of game time when it launches. That's the next year and a half to 2 years on the roadmap.
Yeah.
So, like, when we're looking at that, if we try to compare that to other offers, right, inside of MMOs, you've got something like World of Warcraft. It's $15 a month. It's $180 a year.
Yeah.
And you're doing $110 for 2 years minimum.
So
and then a
you're
month of game
looking
time
at
after it
it
comes
like
out,
you're prorating
how
or
I'm
amortizing the cost of a subscription over the year of content that the beta is going to have, and that's kind of like how you make sense out of it.
For me, that's how I made sense of it as
Sure.
a baseline. And then I got into it being like, okay, this makes sense for me from a purchase perspective, from a consumer perspective. And I got in, and it was more than that, more than what I expected.
And one of the interesting things.
So, skip ahead here. Again, we're not going to watch this whole video. You can go watch Narc's video on his channel, whatever. And we've already kind of run through his key points that he's made. But I want to pause here because this was a big piece of the interview that we'll play here shortly with between Asmon, Narc, and Steven, is this desert biome. This was the focus. This, you know, Asmon was very fixated on the desert. Is like, Narc is saying that part of this new phase of the alpha was that the desert was supposed to be super fleshed out. And, you know, and there's a trailer. So pay attention to the snail. Remember that snail. One of Narc's claims is that everything in this trailer, including that snail, doesn't exist. Currently. And we'll just skip ahead a little bit, but you can see, like, it's a nice biome. You got the valleys with the rivers, the snail again. Mind you, the snail stands up. That thing. The scorpion. Okay, so I think that gives you a pretty good view of kind of what's going on. You know, just pretty nice desert area, that snail mount. You know, you've got the trees, the shrubbery and stuff, and yada, 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 right? One of Narc's claims, none of that exists. This is the desert area. So let's just listen to what he has to say.
In 2022, when the Desert Showcase was being shown, they made it absolutely clear that this was the current state of the desert biome, boasting about their innovative tools to help them develop the world fast, and in no way, shape, or form alluded to this being just a concept.
Particular weather. That's going
And
to
he's
be very
purposefully
interesting as
flipping
well.
back and forth
You saw a little bit
to
of
kind
the,
of
you know,
try
the
and
sand
show
tornado
that
capabilities with the
there's
dust devil
discrepancy.
kicking up, both in the weather presentation as well as a little bit in the desert reveal. And you also saw some ambient effects that live across the top of those dunes, where you're seeing winds of sand getting blown across in the distance. And you know, here's the key point. Graphics don't make a game fun. Systems make enjoyable.
Everything shown was not real. The story arcs that showed the world dynamically changing around the Tower of Carfin and Oakenbane Keep, it was not real. The beautiful environment and weather that was shown during the seasonal and commission showcases were not real. The amazing Freehold showcase that showed the farm animals, housing, and crops were not real. It was all just...
It's a lot of claims about stuff that's not real. Now again, when Steven is brought onto the show, he shows all this shit. And I'll just want to we'll wait a second before we jump over, but I just want to show you one more clip here in a second of the desert area that he fixates on about, you know, not being real.
A concept.
And I want
with
you
a
to pay attention to the
$250
minimap.
price tag. You cannot act like Chronicles of Valeria and not expect backlash from this.
So look where he's at a place called Asmoran in the desert, whatever. You can kind of see there's like an edge there, you know. And he again is stating that the desert that's shown doesn't exist. It's this barren ass wasteland, and it's false advertising, right?
But the main thing that is causing me to step away isn't the state of the game. The main thing is that whenever stuff like this is brought up by me or any community member, the narrative is that it's just an alpha, and therefore it's okay. It's not okay. It wasn't okay for all previous Kickstarters to do this, so why is it okay for Ashes of Creation? For Stephen Sharif to sit there on Reddit and call me an uninformed content creator who casts illusions on people's fears and negativity.
Now I'll say, I'm not going to get into the Reddit piece of this just because it wasn't touched on enough to really have an opinion on it. But essentially, Narc makes the claim that within the Reddit, a lot of folks are being banned for kind of bringing light and bringing concern to these various things he's talking about. And it is touched on in Asmon's, interview with him. And he essentially just says that like anyone that was banned because they broke community guidelines. And a lot of them came from Narc's stream where he is showing this on, you know, this desert thing and people are pissed off and yada, yada, yada. So it was a minor piece to me, honestly. Like, if you're curious about that, I encourage you to go watch that. But yeah.
So, from the bottom of my heart, I have to apologize to everyone who I convinced to help support this project these last 4 years, because I thought I was being shown the genuine state of the game, not 4 years of Unreal Engine fakery. Now, let's not get this twisted. I do not think Ashes of Creation is a scam. There is a lot of potential here. They've put a fuck ton of work into this game. I had a lot of fun playing Phase 1.
Okay, so now that you've seen a bit of that, I just want to jump on over to Steven's video. This is his response video, and he titles it again Asmon Response because he wants Asmon to see it, because the other video again is at 154,000 views, and it's just people watching his game get shat on. So I understand him being fucking pissed.
Hey Asmon, I just watched your video reviewing Narc's very unfortunate video about Ashes, and you know, I wanted to take just a moment to go through a couple of the things that he says that I feel are really disingenuous and unfortunately paint a very negative light on myself, on the team, on the project.
And so what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and flip through his interview with Asmon, because he again shows all of this. But I just want you to take a look at all of this. Is him in the prod environment. He's on a dev client, mind you, but he's in the prod environment.
And if he's trying to paint a
flying
picture
around the desert,
I think the
that
biggest
looks just like the trailer.
A little lower. 2 years ago, we had
all the foliage.
This desert is a significant amount of work. Which I think is really just unfortunate. For a minute and a half,
but you can see all the foliage, right? Let's just mute this real quick. You can see all the foliage. That's the scorpion from the trailer. Remember him? But you can see it's not just the purple wasteland that he shows. And Narc says in his interview with Asmon, you know, oh, I wasn't just saying like that's all they have. I assume that people have seen my other videos. I disagree with that logic. I mean, you knew in posting this, or you had to have known, that negativity sells. People are dying to be negative about this game because of its circumstances. And you knew that this video would probably garner more views than, you know, your more positive videos. And for you to just leave out the context of, you know, the other pieces of the desert exist, I think that was purposefully misleading, in my opinion. And Asmon kind of says the same thing. But anyhow, you can see just him flying around, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and jump on over to Asmon's video. So first, this is his conversation with Narc.
When Phase 2 launched, they advertised Phase 2 with a $110 price tag, having an expansion to the desert. So that, and I stated this explicitly in the video, it's all about the expansion. The expansion to the desert
Did
is
you
what
say
I
that in
showed.
the video? I don't remember you saying that because
And
like,
so that was my point too, is like in his video, he doesn't clearly say that he's talking specifically about the expansion to the desert, which is key here. Because if that's true, then sure, he's got a point. Like, I mean, I didn't see any expansion to a desert being shown. But what I garnered from that video was the desert is fucking fake. This is the desert. Like, it's a big purple sand dune wasteland with mobs. Like, that's what I got.
and this is the impression that I got. Well, you can see like so like when I watched the video that you did, the impression that I got from the video is that you were showing the desert and there was like nothing in the desert at all.
Yep.
Like all of the images that you showed showed you, and it looks like if you look at your mini map, you're basically on the edge of the map. And
Well, if you bring up my stream right now, if you can.
sure,
Yeah. Where I am currently is smack bang right in the middle of the desert. There is a node directly in front of me. This little crop of land is a node, right?
Yeah.
Ignore the crop of land. I don't care about the crop of land because that's just a node. The point is, all around it, it's just emptiness everywhere. There is no desert. This isn't a desert expansion. This is just sand.
But you can see, so I think that's a good point you're bringing up, and you're saying that the desert expansion doesn't exist, but the desert.
And that's the thing, is if you are specifically speaking to the expansion piece of the desert, and in phase 2 the desert was not expanded upon in a way that is fleshed out, sure. However, in his video he shows the trailer that I showed you with all of the shrubbery and, you know, the desert looking great, whatever, and then he shows this on screen and he says nothing's here, it's all a lie, there's nothing in the desert. It's like, that's misleading. That, like, we don't have the context, or the average viewer that comes across your video does not have the context of your previous video. And I understand that, like, he's gonna make the argument that he's not, you know, a super huge YouTuber, streamer, whatever, so like he assumes that everyone that watches his video has seen all of his previous ones. Sure. However, when you pieced this together, you had to know that comparing that old footage to this was misleading. There's no other way around it, bro. Like, come on.
It does exist. Is that
Well, the desert exists in the fact that they have just created a land mass with nothing in it. There is no content in this desert. There is nothing to test in this desert.
But your video implied that the things that were advertised in the demo from 2 years ago were not present in the alpha. Is that correct?
Yep.
Is that true?
Yep. And I would say, yeah, I'd stand by that. That's true. These things do not exist.
So if I look at it and I see the things that were shown in alpha in like this demo.
So I think we've gotten enough of that. So anyhow, that was the conversation with Narc. Let's go ahead and jump forward. This is the conversation with Steven.
Going on with the game. Obviously, it's been probably, I'm sure, a pretty interesting week or so for you. And
oh my goodness,
yeah, a lot of people, a lot of opinions, a lot of videos, and a lot of reactions. And so, obviously, I think that you probably saw a lot of like kind of what I discussed with Narc about things, and what like kind of the frustrations in the community are about just different aspects of the game. And kind of like what's your take on it? Like, how do you feel like people have been responding?
Well,
sure.
My primary problem, and I tried to put this in the response, is that, look, it's fair to talk about communication. It's fair to talk about, you know, things that we could have said differently or done differently. But the key takeaway and the problem that I had with the video that was portrayed was the definitive statements that what we've shown in our development updates are not real, and that is
Yep.
absolutely not true. And Narc has zero basis whatsoever to make that statement. And I think the biggest takeaway for anybody that's watching the video, as you had, right, is to look at him showcasing a section of the world that was at the edge of the map, that is in the dunes area, that is incomplete.
So is
And
this part at the edge of the map or not?
which part?
The
The
part
part
where
that Narc
Narc,
showed?
yeah.
Absolutely, it's 100% at the bottom of the map.
So why did he
That
say
is,
it wasn't
And
at
mind
the edge
you,
of the map?
again, yeah, Narc says that this is not at the edge of the map. He said, you know, this is the middle of the desert, whatever. And we saw the area. Remember, it was Azamon or something like that, right? Well, you'll see where it's actually at.
well, so this is the
So this
production
is
environment, which
this is Steven's stream.
means this is
Asmon
our
just joined it, but you'll see he's gonna walk you through all of the facts.
live alpha 2. You can
Oh,
see
okay.
that
So this
there's
is
a
the
bunch.
live game.
Yeah, this is the live game.
Okay.
But I'm on a developer client, so I can do certain things in the live game that you wouldn't normally be able to do.
Right.
So when he's talking about,
Can you
when
go
he's
to that
talking about-
area that he was showing that was like super
Oh
empty?
yeah.
Okay.
Hold on one second. If he has a coordinates, I can port to those coordinates.
Yeah.
But as I kind of like fly through the desert zone, right, there's a lot of key did not
Mhm.
exist, and it
Yeah.
is that he claims what we showed 2 years ago did not
Mhm.
exist, and it does exist. It may not exist near the edge of the map or near even as you go
Mhm.
into the deeper portions of the map.
Excuse me. That's the thing is Steven goes on to say is like, you know, there's a huge chunk of the desert that is fleshed out and beautiful, and what he showed on his video and was showing a little bit earlier on stream. The edges of the map is a different story. Like, yeah, there might be some parts that aren't super fleshed out. That wasn't what Narc was saying in his video. That might be what Narc was saying in his conversation with Asmon after the fact. But the video that has 154,000 views giving matter-of-fact statements does not give that context. That's the issue.
But all of this desert zone here,
Yeah.
maybe not this desert zone down here, is complete. But regardless, like the point of that is that this is still in development, and we have been very clear about that as part of our communications with the
Yeah, sure.
audience, that not everything is going to be complete in an alpha, and that I know that that can be a difficult thing to communicate, to convey, but it is part of our process. It is part of the development of the game. That's the biggest rub, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
is that it is easy to look at a development, and as much as we have communicated, which we have communicated probably, and I'm speaking from a gamer's perspective,
Sure.
more than I have seen any other MMORPG of our size in development with a following like ours,
We'll skip
probably
ahead.
that I've ever seen. Us being open about the transparent in the first, the process of development in the first place.
Okay.
Like
Steven's about to get heated.
that constructive criticism, not going on his stream and calling people who support the game autists and retards and banning them and just acting like a complete degenerate, right? And because, and again, I'm not trying to make any ill will towards Narc.
Sure.
Like, yes, I'm super pissed about the fact that he went and made a video that was completely defamatory, but the reality of the matter is that we never engaged with Narc from a company's perspective as a content creator. Why? Because his brand was not the brand that we wanted to engage with about the game. Now, of course, that's a big conflict for us because he was creating content about the game, and some of those videos and content were great,
Yeah, true.
but some of them were not. And some of them did not match what we wanted our brand to be. And I got a lot of flack internally from my own marketing and community team when I would even talk and engage with Narc because they're saying, "Hey, man, like this guy is not a good dude." And I would say, "Okay,
Oh
well,
yeah. I mean, this is
you
just
know,
marketing and PR people are
100%.
always they are so careful. I'm fully aware of that.
You
Okay.
can't go
Okay,
further."
so he is now gone to the area that Narc was in the video.
So if you
This
just
is
go
the edge of the
okay,
fucking
so you
map.
can't even and this is the case all
And remember,
around the map,
Asmoran.
right? Like this is like if you
Yeah,
go
you can see the map edge is here.
so
You can't go further than that.
okay, so this Okay.
See, I'm trying to like it won't let me.
Okay. So
And that's where
Caught.
Asmine is. But again,
All right.
the key point isn't so much whether or not he was at the edge. That's fine.
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
Maybe he was 100 meters off of the edge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But regardless, the point is he showed side-by-side comparisons of our showcase from 2 years ago, and he said none of this is in the game.
Yep.
That is what he said.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said none of this is in the game, and that's bullshit. I just released a video
And
that showed
this
all
what
of
you're
the, all
looking
those
at
assets
right
in the game.
now. This is it. This was added into the game on December 20th.
Yes.
Okay.
This was added into the game on December 20th. Anybody who's been playing here, let me ask this dude. Here, let me just ask this guy. Hello, Mew.
So
Hold on.
he straight up asked this random guy.
We see you.
Yeah. It's asked him. He says since Alpha 1.
Okay.
He's been playing since Alpha 1.
Somebody else saying they were there. Yeah.
May I ask a question?
May I ask a question? All right.
Were these nodes present in phase 1?
Were these nodes present in phase 1?
Or did they come on
He says no.
December 20th?
There you go.
No.
All right. Well, he's gonna have to check his PayPal,
Hold
right?
on. Let's give him a hat. We need to give him a hat.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Boom. We just
Paid
gave him a
actor.
Santa hat.
No.
Great.
But
For him.
Hold
yeah.
on, let's ask him.
And so he's going to show that snail mount now.
And you can walk around on the Wispoke. I'm going a little fast. Hold
Okay, so this is the one
There's
exactly
the
from the
fucking
video.
snail mount.
on. Yep. And not only that, the snail, the little horse snail, we call it a snorse, right? It still
Yeah.
has some textures that need to be
Boom.
added. It's missing some mats that I think
Yeah.
unfortunately got stomped when we did a master material update on the saddle.
That's a cool ass mount, by the way.
But you can take the snail and you can press period here and it'll turn into a little snail.
Oh shit. Okay. So it's like a mount, like
and then,
special.
And then you can
yeah.
just no. Oh, killed the fucking snail. God damn it.
Oh wow. So it has like 2 different movement types
Yeah, it has 2 different movement types.
outside of that guy attacking you.
Yeah, that's sad.
Okay. Well,
So-
yeah. That, no, that's cool.
So anyhow, those are kind of that's what transpired on Asmon's stream. That's the different videos we kind of walked through those. But just final takes. In my opinion, I don't think Narc meant any ill will. You see, and I say that, but he has openly expressed his complete disdain for Steven, so it's like it's hard to believe. But I think here's what I think. I think that Narc is kind of tired with the content that he's been doing, just all ashes all the time. And I think that he saw an out. The situation, the weird relationship between him and the game execs, and them kind of shutting him out, and he's already expressed that he doesn't care for Steven too much. Seems Steven has a very similar opinion. I think it just got to the point where he just wanted out, and I think he knew that this video would get a ton of views. You can't sit here and tell me you didn't think it would, bro. And I think that he knows it was misleading. I don't see how you don't see how that's misleading. I mean, you show a trailer from 2 years ago of the desert showing all these different biomes, whatever. Then you go to the edge of the map in a newly created area and show a barren wasteland and go 1-to-1 and say, oh, look, nothing's here. They lied. They're lying to you. And I don't feel comfortable lying to you. And I'm not saying they're scamming you, but for the price, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's like, come on, man. I think that he should put out some sort of video or, some sort of additional context about how, assuming that everyone watched the previous videos isn't fair. Like, it probably wasn't right to, give a 1-to-1 and say de facto these things don't exist and they're lying. I hate to say, like, he should delete the video, especially since it seems to be so successful, and even joked about adding ads to it. But it's like, I mean, it's getting a ton of views off of what seems to be lies, honestly. And so that's kind of my thoughts on it. I will say this was probably the best ad for Ashes of Creation ever, this whole situation. Steven's kind of last minute explosion of anger, I'll call it, was awesome. Let me just play that real quick.
Who was getting their tits in a twist? Or, excuse me,
Yeah,
who were
it is what it is.
of the development process.
Yeah.
Go take a break. Take a break for your own mental. Let me tell you, developing this game has not been great for my mental health.
Yeah.
It sure is. I would not wish this level of engagement with the community, this level of complexity in the game development. I mean, you got to understand, I started this also 8 years ago without having any experience in development whatsoever,
yeah.
just being a lover of MMOs and wanting to make something that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like I had to run through the crucible on fire with my head on fire.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And
no, I understand.
And my recommendation is take a break.
Yeah.
Go take a break for your own mental health. That wasn't any dig on his mental health. I don't personally care about Narc too much to care what his mental health status is. I'm just suggesting to anyone that is too emotionally invested in our development process,
Yeah.
go take a break. We will be here when you get back. This project is too large. I have put too much of an investment. I care too much, and so does our team, about its success for it to fail. And so because of that, we are going to do what's necessary, no matter the time it takes. Now, ultimately, I don't want to be in a 10, 12, 14-year long development cycle. But another thing to keep in mind is that when people say, hey, it's been 8 years, that first year we were 12 people.
Yeah, sure.
We were 12 people. We were 25 people the next year. And then we were 40 people the year after that. We didn't start this development with 500 people on the side. I don't have $700 million that I've collected from crowdsourcing like Star Citizen. And again,
sure.
it's no heat against Star Citizen. You know, it is what it is. I'm just saying, like, this is a project built of passion. And by the way, Ashes isn't going to be for everybody. If you don't like it, does it mean it shouldn't be made? Does it mean it's a scam? Does it mean that you should demean the character of the people who are putting their blood, lives, sweat, and tears into the project and make false statements that you yourself can be liable for like that, Narc? No.
Well, so
if you want to walk away, if that's truly your intent, then by all means, walk away. Don't drag us through the mud in an effort to get views and misrepresent the game when you do it. Like, come off of it. Only thing I care about is that when someone makes false and defamatory statements and it gets 100,000 plus views, and then it gets 500,000 plus views, and it demeans the character of myself or the 230 plus families that I care that are putting their hearts and souls into this game, of which I put over $55 million of my own money into the development of this game.
Yeah.
There has never been a dime or profit that's been taken from this company in 8 years. When someone says that, it is utter, and pardon my French,
it's gonna
here,
piss
but
you off. It's bullshit.
It's
Sure.
it's
I get it.
complete fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Total bullshit.
Well, all right. I'm gonna ask you. Like, I don't know if you can really give me the answer for this. Like, 55 million. There's no way you can make an MMO with $55 million. Like, how much money do you think it's gonna take to make the game?
At least another 50 minimum. Like, I mean, at least another 50.
His own money, bro.
Minimum. And by the way, we've grown to 230 developers.
Yeah.
That's not 230
Jesus
developers in the middle
Christ.
of Croatia.
Yeah.
That's
It's 100 mil of his own fucking money, bro.
230 developers in the middle of San Diego, California, which is the most expensive part of the United States.
Yeah, it's like a, what is it, like
and I'll tell you another thing.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you another thing. I take care of my developers.
Yeah.
We give 100% health insurance for our developers, their spouses, and all of their children as well.
Yep.
And that's on a game that's not making profit.
Right.
So for someone to demean my character like this and to drag me through the mud this way is absolutely out of character and wrong.
Okay.
It is just wrong.
No, I understand that. I mean, what do you think about like the sick?
So that's that. Again, I think that you know, Narc needs to put out that video. I don't know if he should delete the last one. You know, that's it's not for me to say, but I do think that a follow-up is needed with some sort of additional context, possibly an apology or something, dude, because that was misleading. I don't think that's right. But you know, I'm excited for Ashes of Creation. This video has kind of inspired me to go and spend that 120, 110, whatever it was. The game looks pretty good, and you know, I encourage you to go and watch Pirate Software's streams and his videos on Ashes, because it seems like it might be good, man. Like, obviously this is like super fucking copium pipe dream down the line, you know, who knows. And like Steven said, if you're not into this whole, you know, the process and, you know, wait and see, then it's not for you. But I think I might be. I'm excited. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you liked today's video, please leave a like. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when I am dropping a new video. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of this whole situation, and drop any other, you know, comments on what videos you want to see next. You know, I'm trying to keep some variety on this channel, so just let me know what you have liked in the past and what you'd like to see. Appreciate you guys. Peace.